or die. Hey, swing those hips around. Can't stop, won't back down. My ladies, short, tall, thin or wide, always down and ready to ride.
Welcome back, guys. It's been a while since I've been on. Wow. What an amazing tournament. Even I'll admit, I really did think that it had potential to be gimmicky, but by no means, not at all. Not at all. Amazing tournament. I really hope that the NHL can maybe consider doing this every year. My name is Gene. You guys are watching Primed and Lubed. This is season 4, episode 17 for February the 23rd. Bouchard. Yeah. I still want to home in on the good vibes of the Canada game and just discuss that for a little bit here, as it was stunning. The last two Oiler games, not so much, and we're going to get into all that. And then we'll get into the standings, and we're going to give you the upcoming games, my normal routine that I do throughout this channel. But to have Connor freaking McDavid, win it in overtime, man, like that. Talk about solidifying your legacy. Talk about talk about the beginning stages of solidifying that legacy. Maybe the next version of Crosby. We know what he's done. A couple gold medals in the Olympics, 3 Stanley Cups, World Championships. Now he's also got 4 nations under his belt. So we know that Sidney Crosby has had an utmost amazing career so far, and it's still not over. He's still likely to be the captain of Team Canada in the Olympics 1 year from today, which I think everyone is going to be really super psyched about. This tournament meant a lot for Canadians, 100%. You heard Paul Bissonnette just go off in a tirade because it is very politically charged with a lot of the stuff that is coming out of the new U.S. administration or the return of Donald Trump to the U.S. administration, and all the stuff that's going on, and the rhetoric, how Canada should be the 51st state and whatnot, all that BS. So for Canada to win this, it truly is that feel-good story. And very, very proud of the boys. Very proud of Connor McDavid. He didn't have exactly the greatest game either. And I'm going to be honest with you. I know he got the player of the game in that game because he did. He got the game-winning goal in overtime. But realistically, let's be honest, Jordan Binnington 100% was the player of that game. Yes, Connor McDavid scored the game-winning goal, the most important goal of the tournament. So that's why, by default, he was given that. But Jordan Binnington, he made some saves that very well this tournament should have been won by the U.S. 100%. He stood on his head, and I was one of those guys, like, why are they going to run with Jordan Binnington? And I remember saying it to my coworkers, like, U.S. has way better goaltending. They got Hellebuck, Ozinger, and then I'm thinking, okay, we got Binnington, Montembeault, I think it was, and I thought Aiden Hill would be actually the starter, but anyway, kudos, good job, guys. Can't say enough regarding that. Just amazing. Just absolutely amazing. Okay, let's actually move into the actual program for today, as we'll discuss the Edmonton Oilers now. And unfortunately, the Edmonton Oilers are not doing so good. It's there. I don't know what's going on. Draisaitl hasn't missed a beat, but McDavid, I don't know if he's tired, but he is not himself either. And Evan Bouchard. Wow. The mistakes that he made in that Philadelphia game yesterday is why I coined this title Bouchard, because honest to God, I hate going on rants about my boys. Everyone knows I've been on rants about Skinner. But Bouchard, man, he's got to get it together, or the Oilers have got to maybe seriously entertain trading him, because I'm not liking it. I'm not liking what I'm seeing out of him. If you look at a lot of my thumbnails that I've done this year, for some reason his face is up and it's on a negative condensation of him. So anyway, we're going to go into the Four Nations recap here, as I just discussed just now what I thought of it. I'm just trying to switch that graphic over, and it's not switching. So, don't know why it's not switching here. 1 second here, guys. To do it manually, I think. Oh, I'm pressing the wrong button. That's why. I'm a little rusty, guys. Four Nations recap. I already told you how I felt about the tournament, so I'm not going to go over that. However, what I will get into is the scores of every game. And it started off extremely great. Like the first game, I remember going to work the next day saying, wow, what an amazing game. That Canada-Sweden in overtime, what a game. And you think, I don't think it could get better than that, but it did. The tournament got better and better and better. It was unreal. So on February 12th, Canada opened the tournament with a 4-3 win in overtime against Sweden. The second game of the tournament happened a day later on the 13th, where USA thumped Finland 6-1. And that's when you started realizing, holy cow, USA is pretty strong or Finland's pretty weak. One or the other. Game 3, February 15th, it was Finland 4, Sweden 3 in overtime. So Finland at this point in time has a chance to make the finals. Later that night, one of the most unreal starts to a hockey game I've ever seen. 3, not 1, not 2, 3 fights within the first 9 seconds of the game. It was the Chuck brothers and Miller for the U.S. Against Sam Bennett, I know was involved. I don't even remember our guys who fought, but it was crazy. Crazy start to a game. The United States would, however, beat us 3-1 in this game and send a clear-cut message to the Canadian team that they're for real. And I think the message was definitely heard. As on February 5th, Canada would defeat Finland 5-3. Now, I remember watching this game, and it was 4-0. I was feeling a little sleepy in the afternoon. I'm like, you know what? This game is over. I'm going to go take a nap. I get up to look at some messages saying Canada avoids scare against Finland. I'm like, what the hell happened? And then I realized Finland made it very close in the dying seconds of that game. However, Crosby would ice it with an empty netter. And then on the 17th, Sweden would defeat the USA. Now, this game did not have Tkachuk. This game did not have Hellebuck playing. So this wasn't quite the U.S. roster, because they already, at this point in time, had clinched their spot in the final, and they were going to rust up a few players for the championship game. The championship game, Canada 3, USA 2, and it was Connor McDavid And forgive me, I'm using Jack Michaels to do the overtime call here. He wasn't the one calling the game, but that's what I have on my board. Connor McDavid from Mitch Marner.
The winner in overtime.
Shit, yeah, man. That I don't know how loud I yelled when that goal went in. I think there was a united yell in all of Canada when that goal happened. And Canada would win the Four Nations tournament. What a tournament. What a tournament. Again, a lot of it being as good as it was all the surrounding circumstances, being politically charged with all the crap going on there. Even the lyrics were incorrectly sung at the beginning of that game, which was another thing that I didn't like. But what a game. What an amazing game. Okay. From all these positive vibes, gotta catch my breath, to the poll question. And I'm doing the poll question early because it is related to the Four Nations tournament. So the question, and it is right now up on my X account, I was going to say Twitter, on my X account. Should the NHL incorporate the Four Nations tournament annually? Now, I do believe this is going to be every 2 years. And then they are going to do they're doing the Olympics next year. I would imagine this tournament is going to be maybe in 3 years from now. And I think they're going to balance it out where it's every 2 years, best on best. I think that's the plan. Don't quote me for it, but I do think that's the plan. But after what we saw, should they ex-nay the All-Star game? Get rid of it completely. What is the All-Star game? You know, you have to motivate the players by giving them $1 million prize to win a skills competition. And even the skills competitions now in Edmonton are just getting really silly with like the rough relay. What is that? That's nothing to do with hockey players. I don't know. I say, hey, ex-nay the skills comp, ex-nay the All-Star game. Let's do this annually once a year. I say for sure do that. You may have to start the season a little bit earlier just to give them a little bit more appropriate rest. Because right now we're seeing, even with McDavid today, like McDavid had no shots on goal today. So he's obviously an exhausted player right now. So, yeah, I say get rid of the All-Star game. And I would say 100% after what we witnessed in this tournament, let's do this tournament annually. Okay, let's get into the two games. Well, we'll start off with the Oilers-Flyers first and foremost. Not a pleasant game to watch by any means at all, as the Edmonton Oilers absolutely looked silly in this game. It would be a lot of mistakes by Evan Bouchard. A lot of mistakes. Really brutal play by Evan Bouchard, to be honest with you. I was actually sickened by his play. Usually I'm beating up on our goaltending a little bit, but this was really a poor display of hockey by Evan Bouchard. Mitchkov would get his 17th, the first goal in the first period at 2:07. John Klingberg actually looked pretty good in this game. He had, I believe, a goal and an assist in this game. Yeah, he looked really, really good. He would get his first as an Edmonton Oiler from Connor Brown and Emerson at 7:06 of the first. Leon Draisaitl would get his 41st of the year. And it looked like the Oilers, might have a chance. And the first period, they got a 2-0 lead. In the second period, at 1:45, Owen Tippett would get his 15th unassisted. Then it'd be Couturier getting his 9th from Michkov at 7:13. And then Ekholm would get his 8th, unassisted by Leon Draisaitl. The Philly scoring would continue with Tippett getting his 16th at 12:26. Andrei Kuzmenko would get a power play goal from Ristolainen and Konecki at 15:37, and then it'd be Ristolainen, empty netter, capping this game. Brutal game, 6-3 for the Philadelphia Flyers, and just an absolute disgusting effort by Evan Bouchard. Not very impressed with his play. His play today wasn't really noticeable, so that's maybe a good thing. But it was not very it was very noticeable in the wrong ways yesterday, as he really looked bad. Okay, so let's go through the shots on goal. 32-18 for the Flyers. 18-18, so that's a split for the Oilers and Flyers when it came down to hits. The face-off win percentage. This is Oilers' bread and butter. If you watch my previous episodes when I do the rig report, this is something that they always dominate and always hit this stat. It's going to be interesting next week when I do the rig report to see if that actually goes down to maybe a B, which would be quite a substantial change because they've been like in the A's for the last 4 or 5 reports that I've done. They were 0 for 1 on the power play. They were 1 for 2 on the penalty kill. So they let in a goal on a power play. Blocked shots, 12-7 for Philadelphia. Giveaways, 19-16 for the Oilers. And then the save percentage, I know Bouchard had a rough game, but Stuart Skinner was a little rough too. 26 of 31 for an .839 save percentage. Again, he's coming back from, 2 weeks off. They're rusty. I get it. They're trying to shake off the rust and all that. And a lot of this save percentage thing is not really his fault. It's the players in front of him. A lot of players did not look good for the Oilers in this game. Okay, so some more numbers. The bad numbers. McDavid and Ekholm were both a -3. Bouchard and Arvidsson had 3 giveaways, and no defenseman registered a blocked shot in this game. Not a single D-man registered a single blocked shot. And that's kind of what their job is, to block shots. The good, Leon Draisaitl had a goal and assist. John Klingberg, a goal and an assist. He was also a +2. He looked excellent. Matt Savoy gets his first NHL point. The stars for ESPN, Matin Michkov, 1 goal, 2 assists. Owen Tippett, 2 goals. Sean Couturier, 1 goal, 2 assists. And there you have it. The Edmonton Oilers lose pretty convincingly to the Philadelphia Flyers in what was an ugly, ugly game. Defensively, anyway. So, I don't know what to say. Today's game against Washington, believe it or not, it was even a worse outcome as far as score-wise go. But they did actually, I think they actually played a little bit better in today's game, despite losing 7-3. Let's go to news around the league. And a few upcoming stories here that we're following. So we'll go into the first one here, and it looks like Matt Tkachuk might be out for a bit here. There is no definite timeline yet, even though there's a lot of rumors saying that he's probably out for the season. As far as Paul Maurice goes, he's still being evaluated, so we're going to leave it at that. He suffered some kind of injury, I think, in the first game against the Canadiens, as he was definitely not on the ice as much late in the third period of that first game. So we'll see what happens to him. And this is where, if you're Bill Zito, this is where you get a little bit pissed off, right? You're the owner of the team. You got a huge investment in one of your players, and you're paying him a lot of money. You let him play in this tournament, and he gets hurt. And I kind of understand owners' point of view of this, that they may not like it when they are subjected to these international competitions, and it's not reflective of their team. The NHL is to follow the NBA and NFL as far as the draft goes. Commissioner Bettman will be calling out all the draft pick names of each team instead of the teams coming up to the podium and saying from the Oshawa Generals, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's going to be just strictly him doing it. It's going to be a very neutral thing, which I'm going to be honest with you, from what the NHL just did by having this tournament, it was a big win. And now you're taking a big minus considering last year's draft was done at the Sphere, and it was excellent. They did a phenomenal job at the Sphere. And now they just want to kind of tone it down to this. I think that's a misbeat by the NHL. And Ovi, after today, is only 13 goals away from passing Wayne Gretzky. Not very fond about this, but it is the reality. He's going to do it this year. He's going to do it probably, I would say right now, with him only 13 away, I would say mid-March. I would think somewhere mid-March, somewhere between March 10th and March 20th, I think, is what I'll predict Ovi will get this all-time goal leaders, which, again, you know, I've followed the Oilers my whole life. So to see Wayne Gretzky's record get broken is a little tough for me to swallow. But you know what? Records are meant to be broken. And that's all we got for the league this week. And we'll take you into today's game that happened this afternoon, which was another poor effort, but not as bad as the Philly game. The Philly game was really, really bad to watch. And we'll take that in right now. Okay, so this game was 7-3. So there was one more goal scored by the opposing team here, as compared to the Philly game. So you think, well, this game was a worse game. No, not really. This game was actually a better played game by the Edmonton Oilers. Had a worse score, yes, but they did play better. And they are also, you got to remember, they're playing the number one team in the NHL, the Washington Capitals. This team is good this year. And it's so weird because last year they just went from being so bad last year to being the number one team in the league this year. Leon Draisaitl would open the scoring, getting his 42nd on the power play, assisted by Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Connor McDavid at 142. Tom Wilson would then respond with his 26th, assisted by Roy and Dubois at 17:15 of the first. And then Jacob Chikrin would take the lead for the Capitals with his 17th on the power play by Dylan Strome and Tom Wilson. We would have a 2-1 lead after the first period. Ovechkin then would get his 27th of the year at 8:53. This is one of three goals that he would get today, as he would get the hat trick. And then he would score again, literally almost 10 minutes later, his 28th on the power play from Chikrin. And then McMichael would get his 20th. So this was a period totally owned by the Capitals, as they would take now a 4-1 lead, or 5-1 lead, going into the third period, where Ryan Nugent-Hopkins would make it 5-2, getting his 16th from Victor Arvidsson and Zach Hyman at 6:35. Dylan Strome would make it 6-1 at this point in time from Carlson and Protos. And then Jeff Skinner would get his 11th unassisted. And then Ovechkin would end the game with an empty netter and the hat trick. And now 13 goals away from Wayne Gretzky's record being broken. Yeah, it's still kind of a sting, but it's going to happen. It's definitely going to happen. The Capitals had the most shots on goal with 34-25. Hits a slight edge to the Oilers, 16-15. And again, the Oilers' bread and butter, their face-off win percentage, the Capitals had 55.1 on the dot. And that's usually unheard of, that particular stat. Edmonton always owns the face-off win percentage. The Oilers were 1 for 3 on the power play, 0 for 2 on the penalty kill. The penalty kill was no good today for the Oilers, as both power plays that they allowed, the Washington Capitals took advantage of. Blocked shots, the Oilers actually won that stat, 14-9. The Capitals won the giveaway stat, 15-10. So even with this, the giveaways that Washington gave away more stats, had more giveaways. The Oilers just couldn't get it done. They couldn't get it done on the faceoff dot. And yeah, they got destroyed by the Capitals today. The save percentage, pretty much same as yesterday. 27 saves of 33 for an 818 for Calvin Pickard, who was in net today, as it was a back-to-back situation for the Oilers. The other numbers, Ovechkin hat trick is now 13 goals away from Wayne Gretzky's record. McDavid, no shots on goal. I had to really double check that and actually see if that was the case. I was actually shocked to see that Connor McDavid did not register a single shot on goal. Only 3 players with a +1 or better. Only 3 Edmonton Oilers with a +1 or better. It was either zeros or all the way up to -3s for the team. Only 3 players with a +1 or better. Brutal. The good, Jeff Skinner did get a goal, so he was also a +1. RNH, a goal and assist. John Klingberg blocking 3 shots. So we had a D-man blocking shots in this game, which was kind of a good thing. So, yeah, as far as the stars, of course, Ovi's going to be the number 1, getting the hat trick. Dylan Strome, a goal and 2 assists. And Alexia Protaz, if I'm pronouncing that right, I don't know if I am, 3 assists. And there you have it. The Edmonton Oilers lose to the Washington Capitals quite handily, which is quite unfortunate. But it is what it is. So now we'll take a look at the updated standings. Now, there was games throughout the day, so this may not be 100% accurate for the current moment. I did this right after the Oilers game. I took these standings into consideration. And I'll pop that one up here. All right. So, and again, there hasn't been too many games this month. There was no games for the last 2 weeks, so not very much change has taken place. But Winnipeg stays even. Dallas stays even. Vegas is a +1 now. They went up 1 spot. Minnesota went up 1 spot. Our Oilers have gone down 2 spots now, as they now sit in 5th place. Colorado, LA, Vancouver, Calgary, and Utah are all in the same spot that they were the last time I did an episode. Anaheim is a +1. St. Louis is a -1. Seattle, Nashville, Chicago, and San Jose are all in the same spot as they were the last time I did this. So now there was just one slight change in the playoff lineup pairings, if you will, going into, as of now, as the swap happened to be the Oilers now taking on the Kings, whereas the Golden Knights would be taking on the Avs. That's the only change that really occurred as far as the playoff pairings go. No one has jumped in. Calgary hasn't rebounded back in. Vancouver is still in the last or the second wild card spot. Okay, let's take a look at the upcoming games. And we'll get that going. So the Oilers will take on... Do I got this right? No, I got this backwards. Let me just get this all sorted out here. They're going to take on Tampa Bay on Tuesday. Florida on Thursday, and then Carolina on Saturday. So let's get into the Tampa Bay Lightning game. The Lightning are third in the league for goals at 3.56, 12th in the league for shots on goal, 5th in the league for power play percentage at 26.9, 17th in the league at 50.4, but with the Oilers, with their faceoffs lately, they may actually look good against the Oilers. Shooting percentage, third in the league at 12.3. Goals allowed, they're 7th in the league with averaging 2.76 goals per game. Not bad at all. Shots on goal, 17th in the league. That's something that they could use a little bit of improvement on at 28.7. Or shots on goal allowed, 17th in the league. So they still allow a lot of shots, but you got a goalie in Vasilevsky. It's pretty good. You're in a pretty good spot when you have him behind the pipes. Penalty minutes, they're 19th in the league, averaging 8.4. Penalty kill, they are 12th in the league at 80.7. Likely your tenders are going to be Stuart Skinner and Andre Vasilevsky. Skinner is a .89 save percentage, so he's below that 900 mark, which you always want your goalie above the 900 mark. He has 2 shutouts and 281 goals against average. As for Vasilevsky, a 232 goals against average, 918 save percentage, 3 shutouts. The last time they played each other was December 10th in Edmonton, where the Oilers won 2-1. So you know Tampa's going to be looking for some revenge. And the Oilers are not doing very good. They are now on a 3-game losing streak, and the Tampa Bay Lightning on a 5-game winning streak. And I'll be honest with you, I saw clips of how Cooper was coaching that Team Canada. He's a pretty good coach. Let's face it, he's a really good coach. So then they will go on, and it will be the Stanley Cup rematch with the Florida Panthers. And I'll just bring that one up here. Okay, so Florida this year, they're 8th in the league for goals. They are 3rd in the league for shots on goal with a 31.8, averaging 31.8 shots on goal. Power play percentage, 9th in the league at 24.3. Faceoffs, 22nd in the league at 49.2. They are tied for 20th for shooting percentage at 10.2. Goals allowed, 13th in the league at 2.88. Shots on goal allowed, 10th in the league at 27.2. They are 30th in the league with penalty minutes, averaging 9.7 minutes per game. And they are 17th in the league for the penalty kill. So they're not the Tampa of yesteryear, but the Oilers are struggling. This is going to be a team that is going to be determined to get some vengeance from that loss on December. This is a team that the Oilers really want to beat, as they did beat us 6-5 December 16th. And we also know they beat us back in June of last year in a very important Game 7 Stanley Cup final, which I don't want to remind you guys because it still stings me as well. So then they will go on and play the Hurricanes on Saturday. Let's pull that up. Hurricanes, I think, are a much better team than Florida this year. But that being said, and also another note with Florida, it's doubtful that Tkachuk is going to be in that game, as I do think he is nursing something pretty bad. For him to not play in the USA Championship game, or very limited play, is saying a lot. You know, we saw him play through in the first run to their Stanley Cup where they lost to Vegas, playing with something really seriously ailing him until he couldn't do it anymore. For goals, Carolina is sixth in the league at 3.28, second in the league for shots on goal at 31.9. Their power play percentage is 22nd at 19.8. They are fourth in the league for face-off win percentage at 52.7. Shooting percentage tied for 18th at 10.3. When it comes to goals allowed, they are eighth in the league at 2.77. They are first in the league when it comes to shots on goal allowed. Very stingy team, very good defense. And watching Slavin in that tournament, yeah, they're pretty good. They're pretty good. Plus, they got Burns and a few other characters. The penalty kill, they are first in the league on that too at 85% kill rate. That is amazing. That's where the Oilers were a couple years ago. They were the number one team. They've kind of fallen off the map. Petro Kuchentov, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, has a 255 goals against average, 902 save percentage, and one shutout on the year. The last time they played was October 22nd in Edmonton, where Carolina defeated the Oilers 3-2. And they're on a one-game losing streak. Their last 10, 5, 4, and 1. So there you have it. There's the games for Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, as the Oilers will go on and continue on with the season, and we're hoping to see some better play out of this team. It's one thing I noticed going back to 2010 after the Olympics and now watching best on best hockey. It's really hard to get back into NHL hockey after you witness that spectacle of speed and skill. Like it's hard. It's really hard to really get into Edmonton Oilers hockey, and you really notice how sloppy the play is. Like, honestly. Now, yes, they had 2 weeks off. I gotta tamper it a little bit. I do understand. I gotta tamper it a little bit. Anyway, let's go into final thoughts. It's good to be back. Hopefully I can get a little consistency here going and be here every week going forward. But yeah, chime in if you guys want. What did you think of the Four Nations Face-Off Tournament? And we have a few comments here. My buddy Renegade Man is chiming in. And what did he say? Oilers fans want a goalie. That's going to cost you Savoy, next year's first goalie, and additional assets for a mid-tier goalie. Imagine the price for Sorokin or Shesterkin. Okay, so first and foremost, Renegade Man, great comment. But I think right now, a lot of Oiler fans want to see Bouchard gone. I'm starting to really, really head in that direction. I've seen too many games where a piss poor effort out of him. And if he's going to be fighting for some top dollars, I know that, and he will be, because the salary cap's supposed to go up substantially. Yeah, I don't think a lot of people, yes, there has been a lot of rhetoric online about Skinner, and I do support you on that. I don't think he deserves most of that. He does have to play better. Do I want him gone out of Edmonton? No. I still want him to be our number one. But I also want to see him play a little bit better, but I want to see the team in front of him play like a lot better. A lot better. All right, Renegade Man. What do we got here? I don't want them to trade Savoy because he's a very good player to give away. Yeah, I don't want to see that either. Losing Holloway and Broberg earlier this year really sucked because that was some good young talent. Yeah, I totally agree with you. I don't foresee. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what's going to end up happening here. I think we need to really get ourselves another solid D-man, like another Ekholm kind of D-man, another really good guy that actually maintains his position and holds his front. You know what I mean? What else do we got here? I would love to trade Bouchard, but the Oilers really need him. No, the Oilers do not really need him. Who will play with Ekholm? We need, you know what? He makes Ekholm look lousy. I'm going to be honest with you. I think there's a lot of serious conversation. Actually, I was watching some of the post-game interviews today, and Corey Perry was asked about what was being said in the dressing, and he basically there was some language being thrown around in that dressing room after the game today against Washington, because he did basically say, look, I'm not going to tell you what we talk about in the locker room. What is in the locker room stays in the locker room. That was his initial response. So, you know, there was some fireworks in that locker room after today's game. Yeah, Bouchard, no. He's going to be wanting top dollar. I'm done with him. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm done with him unless I see a massive turnaround. And you know me, like I've always given Skinner, there's times I was like, oh, am I done with Skinner? But no, I've never gone to that point with Bouchard. I think I'm now at that point. And the last comment from Renegade Man. McDavid is the best player in the world. Beat the best goalie, Hellebuck, this season to help Canada win 4 nations. Connor beat Connor. Nicely said. Nicely said. Love it. And don't know if this is going to work. Yeah. Love it. Love it. Great comment, Renegade Man. Connor beat Connor. Yeah. You can't ask for a more storybook ending, could you? And especially with, again, all the political rhetoric going on with tariffs and this and that. Canada really did need this win with 100% certainty. All right, guys, I am out for this week. Thanks for joining in, Renegade Man. Again, before I leave here, if you'd be so kind to hit that subscribe button if you liked what you saw on this channel today, it would mean a lot to me as I am trying to grow this channel a little bit more and more. But I'm out. You guys have a wonderful week, and we'll see you next week, folks. And that's it. Bye.